In history, power is often explained through wars, bloodlines, and great victories. We are taught that kings rise because they are born into greatness or because they conquer it. But sometimes, history takes a quieter and far more unsettling path. Sometimes, power changes hands not through strength, but through belief, through uncertainty, through a story that feels true enough. This is the story of a man who became a ruler not because he was rightful, but because the world around him wanted him to be. At the beginning of the 17th century, Russia was exhausted. Years of famine had emptied villages. Crops failed again and again, and hunger followed like a shadow. People whispered that God had turned away from the land. The royal family, once feared and respected, had become fragile. Ivan the Terrible, the powerful and violent Tsar, was long dead. His legacy was chaos. His son, Fyodor I, inherited the throne, but Fyodor was weak, both in body and in spirit. He had no children, and when he died in 1598, Russia was left without a clear heir. Into this silence stepped Boris Godunov. Boris was intelligent and capable, but he was not born into the royal bloodline. Though he was crown czar, many Russians believed his rule was unnatural. They saw him as a man sitting on a throne that did not truly belong to him. Under his reign, famine continued, and suspicion grew. And suspicion always searches for a story. Years earlier, Ivan the Terrible's youngest son, Dmitry Ivanovich, had died under mysterious circumstances. Officially, it was said that the child accidentally killed himself during an epileptic seizure. But rumors told a darker tale. Some claimed the boy had been murdered on orders from powerful men who feared his claim to the throne. No one could prove anything, and that uncertainty never faded. Then, far from Moscow, a man appeared. He was educated. He spoke carefully. He knew prayers, court customs, and noble behavior. Most historians believe he was once a monk named Grigory Otrepiev, but even that is not completely certain. What is certain is what he claimed. He said he was Dmitry, not a ghost, not a legend, the living son of Ivan the Terrible, saved at the last moment and hidden away for years. At first, people laughed, but laughter softened into curiosity, and curiosity became belief. The man knew things that unsettled his listeners. He spoke of the royal palace with precision. He remembered servants' names, secret corridors, private events that should have been forgotten. He carried himself not like a liar, but like someone who had waited a long time to be seen. Polished nobles listened carefully. They were enemies of Boris Godunov and saw opportunity in this strange figure. Catholic leaders listened as well, hoping that a new czar might be more open to Western influence. Support gathered slowly, like snow drifting into a storm. An army formed round him. It was not large, but it was fueled by anger and hope. Disgruntled soldiers, peasants who had lost everything, and men who believed they were fighting for the true ruler of Russia followed him eastward. As he approached Russian lands, something remarkable happened. He was not stopped. Cities opened their gates. Soldiers switched sides. People gathered to look at his face, searching for familiarity. They told themselves they saw it. They wanted to see it. Boris Godunov tried to hold power, but fate intervened. In 1605, Boris suddenly died. His son was crowned briefly, but he was young and unprepared. Chaos erupted in Moscow. Within weeks, the boyars, Russia's powerful nobles, turned against Boris's family. The gates of the capital were opened, and the man who claimed to be Dmitry entered Moscow. He was crowned Tsar. Not secretly, not by force, but openly, with ceremony, bells, and blessings. One of the most shocking moments came when Ivan the Terrible's widow, Maria Nagaya, publicly recognized him as her son. Whether she truly believed it, feared the consequences, or was pressured, no one can say for certain. But her words gave the man undeniable legitimacy. For nearly a year, he ruled Russia, and his rule was strange. He did not behave like previous Tsars. He reduced harsh punishments. He spoke openly with foreigners. He allowed Western customs into court. To many common people, he seemed kind. To the old nobility, he felt dangerous. They watched him closely. They noticed how he crossed himself differently in church. They whispered about his Polish allies. They questioned his faith, his manners, his accent. Slowly, belief began to fracture. The same doubt that once supported him now turned against him. He is not Dmitry, they said. He is pretending. He has fooled us all. The final break came with his marriage plans. He chose Marina Mniszek, a Polish noblewoman. She refused to convert to Orthodox Christianity. For many Russians, this was unforgivable. It felt like betrayal, not just of tradition, but of identity itself. The atmosphere in Moscow grew heavy. On the night of May 17, 1606, bells rang across the city. Not for celebration, but for alarm. A rebellion had begun. The boyars led armed men into the Kremlin. Chaos filled the halls. The man who had been Tsar woke to shouting and steel. He tried to escape through a window, falling and breaking his leg. He did not get far. He was captured, beaten, and killed. His body was displayed publicly, stripped of dignity and power. Later, it was burned. His ashes were mixed with gunpowder and fired from a cannon toward Poland, a final insult meant to erase his memory. But memory does not disappear so easily. Rumors spread that he had escaped, that the man killed was not really him, that the true Dmitry still lived. In the years that followed, more men would claim to be Dmitry, each finding followers, each reigniting chaos. Why did this happen? Because the first one almost succeeded completely. For nearly a year, an empire accepted a man as its ruler based on belief alone. In a world without photographs, without fingerprints, without instant proof, identity was fragile. A confident voice, a familiar story, and the right timing were enough to reshape history. Historians still debate whether the man truly believed his own lie. Some suggest that over time, he became the role, that he stopped pretending and started living as Dmitry because the world treated him as such. Perhaps that is the most unsettling part of all. Power does not always belong to the rightful. Sometimes it belongs to the believable. And as this story fades into silence, it leaves behind a quiet question that lingers through centuries. If enough people believe a man is king, does it matter who he truly is?